Hello there, you are watching World Highlights here on TVR World, where on a weekly basis we bring you the recap of news that made headlines in the past week. I'm Rahmat Idris. We begin with the first segment, shining a light on the latest situation in Gaza and the latest election result in South Korea. This is World Highlights. From the rubble of Gaza to the halls of power in Seoul, as a new wave of humanitarian aid sets sail, Gaza's suffering intensifies. Hospitals overwhelmed, food supplies faltering, and international outrage growing. Meanwhile, South Korea turns a page. After months of unrest under martial law, voters elect a new president. Lee takes office with promises to revive the economy and waste no time naming key cabinet picks on day one.
The crew of volunteers, which includes climate activist Greta Thunberg, set sail on the Madeleine, carrying what the group called limited amounts, though symbolic, relief supplies, whilst Thunberg told reporters before sailing that the mission was aiming to protect human rights in Gaza.
A month after our latest attempt to go on with this mission, the boat was bombed twice. All evidence suggests Israel. And we are doing this because we have to keep our promise to the Palestinians to do everything in our power to protest against the genocide and to try to open up a humanitarian corridor.
Irish actor Liam Cunningham, an advocate for Palestinians in Gaza, was at the launch of the Madeleine and said the supplies going to Gaza included equipment that the Israelis will not allow into Gaza: crutches, baby formula, painkillers, antibiotics.
But we are also very nervous about what the IDF and the Tel Aviv regime will do when they arrive. This boat contains equipment that the Israelis will not allow into Gaza: crutches, baby formula, painkillers, antibiotics.
The situation in Gaza is the worst since Israeli war on Gaza began 19 months ago, the United Nations said on Friday, despite a resumption of limited aid deliveries in the Palestinian enclave where famine looms.
Victoria Rose, in video released on Sunday by Palestinian health authorities, said that all the bays are full and they're all gunshot wounds.
So it's Sunday, it's the 1st of June. It's about 10:30, 11 in the morning. I'm in the emergency department at the NASA complex. We've had a shooting at the GHF Aid Distribution Center near Rafah. A lot of the injured people were taken to the local field hospitals, we think to ICRC, but we have had an extortionate amount of people come through the door. At the moment, the locals are quoting anything from 200 to possibly 100 injured people. These are all gunshot wounds, and as you can see behind me, we've got all the bays are full and they're all gunshot wounds. It's absolute carnage here, and there are even more people in the main emergency department.
Witnesses said the Israeli military opened fire as thousands of Palestinians gathered to receive food aid near the distribution site in Rafah, operated by the US-based Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Gaza Health Ministry said 31 people killed with a single gunshot wound to the head or chest from Israeli fire as they were gathered in the Al-Alam district aid distribution area in Rafah. It said 169 were injured.
This call for their immediate and unconditional release.
At a press briefing Monday, UN spokesperson Stefan Dujarric said the UN chief condemns the reported killings and injuries of the Palestinians and appealed for an immediate, permanent and sustained ceasefire. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres expressed his shock over reports of Palestinians being killed and injured while trying to access aid in Gaza. He stated that it was unacceptable for Palestinians to have to risk their lives for food. Guterres called for an immediate and independent investigation into the incident and emphasized that those responsible must be held accountable. He stressed that Israel had clear obligation under international humanitarian law to allow and facilitate humanitarian assistance. According to him, the unimpeded delivery of aid at a large scale to meet Gaza's urgent needs had to be restored without delay. He also underscored that the UN must be allowed to operate safely and securely in full adherence to humanitarian principles. He also described worsening conditions on the ground with hundreds of thousands displaced and critical infrastructure under threat. Aid deliveries remain severely restricted.
The United Nations and our humanitarian partners will continue their efforts to identify and treat malnutrition.
The election came after 6 months of turmoil triggered by a shock martial law briefly imposed by former leader Yoon Suk-yeol that marred the country's reputation as a vibrant, if at times chaotic, democracy. Polls opened at 6 a.m. and closed by 8 p.m. following early voting on Thursday, May 29th and Friday, May 30th, when more than a third of the 44.39 million eligible voters cast their ballots. Lee's decisive victory in Tuesday's June 3rd snap election stands to usher in a sea change in Asia's fourth-largest economy after backlash against a botched attempt at military rule brought down Yoon Suk-yeol just 3 years into his troubled presidency. Lee faces what could be the most daunting set of challenges for a South Korean leader in nearly 3 decades, ranging from healing a country deeply scarred by the martial law attempt to tackling unpredictable protectionist moves by the United States, a major trading partner and a security ally. Lee nominated Kim Min-suk, a 4-term lawmaker from the Democratic Party, as Prime Minister. He also tapped Lee Yong-suk, a former Unification Minister, to head the National Intelligence Service, and Kang Hun-sik, a fellow Democratic Party lawmaker, as Presidential Chief of Staff. The president, aged 61, said the selections reflect his priorities of economic growth, national unity, and lasting peace on the Korean peninsula. Kim, who served as co-chair of Lee's presidential campaign and played a central role in his victory, was praised by the president for his international sensibility and unifying political leadership.
In the next part, we'll take a look at the Hajj season, the pilgrimage in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. We'll return in just a few minutes right here on World Highlights. Welcome back to World Highlights. Next up, we'll take a look at the latest unwrapping of the Hajj pilgrimage over in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. Across the holy city of Mecca, a powerful sense of unity and devotion fills the air as millions of Muslims gather for one of the most sacred journeys in Islam, the Hajj. This week marks the spiritual climax as 1.8 million pilgrims move in unison to Arafah, Muzdalifah and Mina, the key sites of the pilgrimage's peak. From moments of prayer at the Grand Mosque to the massive mobilization of believers across the desert valley, we bring you a closer look at the sacred experience unfolding now in Saudi Arabia.
The conservative kingdom has spent hundreds of billions of Saudi riyals on ambitious projects to expand and facilitate traffic in Islam's holy cities. The pilgrimage, one of the largest religious gatherings in the world, has been prone to disasters in the past, mainly from stampedes as pilgrims rush to complete rituals and return home. But the expansion has also come at a price. In 2015, a crane accident at the Grand Mosque led to the death of more than 100 people. Since Islam's early days, numerous expansions that have often required the demolitions of sometimes historically significant buildings. Late 19th century, photos of Mecca show Safa and Marwa, key sites in Hajj rituals, once surrounded by buildings. Today, the path between them is clear and part of the Grand Mosque. The pilgrims coming from various countries in the world, some of which visit the holy Muslim site for the first time, express joy and gratitude for being able to perform the pilgrimage. Hajj is an annual pilgrimage that draws millions of Muslims to the holy city of Mecca, where they carry out a series of sacred rituals first practiced by the Prophet Muhammad over 1,400 years ago. As the fifth pillar of Islam, Hajj is a religious duty required once in a lifetime for every physically and financially able Muslims. It represents the highest expressions of Islamic faith, devotion, and global unity.
Director for the Protection of Citizens and Legal Entities, Yuda Nugraha, says that the Foreign Ministry is now handling the case, which happened on Tuesday, May 27th.
KJRI Jeddah telah melakukan koordinasi dengan Kepolisian Wilayah Jumum dan didapatkan informasi bahwa almarhum ditemukan meninggal pada tanggal 27 Mei 2025 di tengah gurun. Berdasarkan hasil penyelidikan, sebelumnya diketahui bahwa almarhum bersama 10 rekan yang lain telah ditangkap dalam proses razia dan kemudian diarahkan untuk meninggalkan wilayah Mekah menuju ke Jeddah. Namun kemudian almarhum bersama 2 WNI lainnya memaksakan diri untuk kembali masuk ke Mekah dengan melalui wilayah gurun dan menggunakan jasa taksi. Namun ketika di perjalanan ada proses patroli kepolisian dan kemudian supir taksi meminta almarhum dan 2 WNI lainnya untuk turun di tengah gurun. Dan kemudian pada tanggal 27 dalam patroli polisi kembali ditemukan almarhum sudah meninggal dunia karena dehidrasi dan 2 WNI lainnya dalam kondisi lemas dan kemudian dirawat di rumah sakit.
Following the incident, Yuda calls all Indonesian citizens who want to perform the Hajj pilgrimage to follow the applicable regulations. They must have a valid Hajj visa and have registered in the Nusuk application.
Indonesian Hajj pilgrims will begin to go to Arafah on early morning on June 4th to perform the peak of the Hajj ritual in 3 schemes, namely regular, murur, and tanazul. Director General of Hajj and Minor Hajj Organizing of Religious Affairs Ministry, Hilman Latif, said on Monday that in the first scheme or regular scheme, which will include 136,000 people, the pilgrims will do the wukuf in Arafah, spend the night or marbit in Musdalifah, and then stay in Mina until 12 or 13 Zulhijjah. In the second scheme or murur, which will include 60,000 people, the pilgrims will go directly to Mina after wukuf in Arafah, without spending the night in Musdalifah. Meanwhile, in Tanazul scheme, as many as 37,000 pilgrims will be allowed to go to their hotels after mabit in Musdalifah, and they do not stay in the tents in Mina. The ministry said that Murur and Tanazul aim to unravel the congestions and to keep the schemes in line with the Sharia requirements. Hilman explained that all pilgrims should be in Arafah on June 5th. After the wukuf rite in Arafah, the pilgrims will move to Musdalifah starting at 7 p.m. local time, and then to Mina by dawn using shuttle bus.
Head of Hajj Health Center Lily Marhendra Susilo said pilgrims began to move to Arafah starting from June the 4th. The reliability of Indonesia's Hajj healthcare services lies in a well-planned and integrated service network across all crucial points in Ar-Muzna. He said the logistics of medicines and medical supplies have been prepared, including those needed during time in Ar-Muzna and in the Safari Waqf buses. As of Tuesday, the medicines and medical supplies have begun to distribute to Arafah and Mina. Based on Indonesia Hajj mission mapping, the Ministry of Religious Affairs has appointed 8 sharikah to manage accommodation and transportation for Indonesian Hajj pilgrims, including tents in Ar-Muzna.
Pilgrims circled the Kaaba in the heart of the holy city of Mecca and began moving towards Mina, a vast tent city on the road to Mecca. This moment marks the first step in the series of Hajj rituals. Pilgrims will stay overnight in Mina to pray as preparation for Wukuf in Arafah, which is the peak of Hajj pilgrimage on Thursday. Saudi's television channel, Al Ikhbariyah, reported that pilgrims departed for Mina by bus and train under a well-organized transportation plan. Based on official data released by Saudi authorities, more than 1.47 Muslims from overseas have arrived in Saudi Arabia to perform Hajj pilgrimage.
Natural disasters occurred around the world. We'll bring you the highlights of the past week in the next segment of World Highlights. Stay with us. Dozens died from the landslides over in West Java, Indonesia. We'll bring you the details in the next segment. From deadly landslides to powerful floods, nature's fury is leaving a trail of destruction across multiple continents. In Indonesia, the death toll from the Mount Kuda landslide has climbed to 21, while a stone quarry collapse in Cirebon raises urgent questions about mining safety. And beyond Asia, disasters continue to strike. Shocking eyewitness footage captures the moment a magnitude 6.2 earthquake hit near Turkey. And in Nigeria, deadly floods have now claimed at least 151 lives.
The Joint SAR team recovered 2 more bodies from the landslide at the Gunung Kuda mining site in Cirebon on Monday, June the 2nd, bringing the death toll to 21. The victims, identified as Sudiono, 51 years old from Cirebon, and Puji Siswanto, 50 years old from Majalengka, were evacuated to Arjowinangun Regional Hospital. According to Bandung SAR Chief Adedian Pramana, both victims were found dead at different times, and the search was temporarily halted at 4:30 p.m. due to 2 subsequent landslides. 4 people remain missing, while 7 others have been reported injured. Traffic was disrupted on some highways after landslides caused sections to be blocked. Rescue operations and heavy machinery were deployed to clear rocks and debris off a road in Guilin, a city in Guangxi Zhuang Autonomous Region, reported CCTV. China's National Meteorological Center has forecast heavy rain to continue over the next few days in Yunnan, while the northeast region is expected to face frequent and severe thunderstorms, according to state media. An eyewitness captured the moment a magnitude 6.2 earthquake struck near Turkey on Tuesday, June the 3rd, showing a ceiling light swinging in a residential apartment in the Turkish city of Izmir. Reuters was able to verify the location and date of the video from the original file metadata. The quake struck the Dodekanes Islands of Greece near its border with Turkey, the European Mediterranean Seismological Center said. Flooding in Nigeria's Niger state this week has killed 151 people and forced several thousand from their homes, an emergency official told Reuters on Saturday, May 31st. Ibrahim Audu Hussaini, Director of Information at the Niger State Emergency Management Agency, provided the new death toll, which was previously reported at 117 on Friday. He added that over 500 households had been impacted and more than 3,000 people displaced. The flooding incident in the central town of Mokwa in Niger State occurred on Wednesday night and continued into Thursday morning.
Welcome back to World Highlights, where we bring you updates and recap from around the globe. This time around, we'll bring you festivity and merriness from around the world. And now we wrap with a splash of colors and celebration from around the globe. From the high-energy races of Hong Kong's Dragon Boat Festival to Colombia's tomato throwing frenzy, the Gran Tomatina. Communities are coming together to celebrate culture, tradition, and pure fun. In Lithuania, locals cool off with a beloved pink dish, cold beetroot soup, while one small Colombian village turns its main street into a giant water slide. Joy, food, and festivity proving that even in the fast-changing world, some traditions never lose their charm.
46 teams competed in the Aberdeen Dragon Boat race for a total of 12 trophies in different categories, with the rowers coming from schools, companies, professional dragon boat teams, and also NGO sectors. The festival's origins trace back to the tragic suicide of the beloved Chinese poet and aristocrat Zhu Yan, who chose to end his life by throwing himself in a river. In a bid to prevent fishes from consuming his body, locals threw steamed rice dumplings into the river and paddled vigorously downstream. This tradition evolved into the annual customs of eating steamed rice dumplings and engaging in dragon boat racing. Lithuania's capital Vilnius turned pink as the city celebrated a traditional cold beetroot soup beloved by Lithuanians in summertime. Salty barcia generally features grated beetroot and cucumber mixed with a kind of yogurt called kefir and garnished with boiled eggs and sheaf or dill. It is often served with hot potatoes. Visitors were seen eating the signature pink soup, posing for photos and walking in the parade. Visitors could also slide down a 50-meter-long inflatable slide into a soup bowl and run through streets while trying not to spill a bowl of soup. Tomatoes flew through the air on Sunday, June 1st, as the Gran Tomatina Colombia Food Fight Festival returned in Colombia. Using tomatoes not suitable for consumption or overripe, revelers threw the fruits at each other, leaving behind a messy red pool of juice and puree on the ground. The festival, created to mirror Spain's La Tomatina Festival, was hosted in Sutamarchan, some 170 kilometers north of Colombia's capital, Bogota, for its 15th edition this year, after many years of suspension. Some 20,000 visitors are expected during the 3-day festival that ends on Monday, June the 2nd, with some 45 tons of tomatoes available to splash. Bukarasika, a town with some 6,000 residents located in the Norte de Santander region, has created a space in the annual calendar for June 1st, where residents get together to set up a giant slide to attract visitors and send the world a more positive image of the region. The event, which featured a motorcade, started last year as a campaign promises from Mayor Oscar Perez to amuse residents. Eventually, with the support of social media influencers who came to visit the attraction, it became popular beyond the regional borders.
And that report wraps up this week's editions of World Highlands from Jakarta, Indonesia. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next week with more stories that matter. Until then, I'm Rahmat Idris. Take care. Bye-bye.